good evening again from this part of the world. It's evening here. Good evening, and you are welcome to Techbiz Transformation Series. It's such a pleasure to be back. We've been away for about 2 weeks. For the first time, we took that kind of break. And it is, of course, or it was in respect of the mood of the city, the mood of the country as well. It's quite unfortunate the things that have happened, but what is most important is we continue to move forward. We continue to demand the kind of Nigeria that we want, the kind of Nigeria that will be the right place for our children to grow up and to thrive in. In fact, before we even go to our children, the right kind of Nigeria that even we will thrive and our businesses will thrive. So happy to be back again with Techbiz Transformation Series, holds every single Thursday, 5 p.m. West African time. I think the key thing is we've been through this journey for many, many months, and we're so happy, so enthralled by the kind of positive impacts that we're able to make in the lives of entrepreneurs, because the whole idea is that you thrive as an entrepreneur and then your business as well thrives. The platform is brought to you by Eco Innovation Center, and you can see on the screen the various handles of Eco Innovation Center. So please feel free to follow the center. We continue to bring the right kind of information that you need for your business, and even for individuals as well, and for your team members, because we have product schools, we also have data schools, and the different kind of schools that help the digital transformation of any entrepreneurial venture. Again, you know me, I'm Doja Ikeruche. I host this program every week. I am a marketing strategist. I am experienced in brand development, brand management, business transformation. That's what I've done for many years, and I've done it in many countries as well. But week in, week out, we bring to you speakers who are experienced in the subjects that they want to come share with you. They have walked the journey themselves, and they are sharing their stories and stories of mentees or people that they have helped within their business. Today, I'm so excited to be introducing Adeolu Akinyemi. Adeolu, if you can activate your video so we can see you. Great.
Good evening.
Good evening, Adeolu. It's such a pleasure to have you. And today you will be talking about moving our community into being high-flying entrepreneurs. Because first of all is the founder. The founder, most critical within the equation of a successful entrepreneurial venture. And so we're so keen that you come and talk to us about the kind of mindsets, the kind of spirit, and the kind of behaviors that are expected from an entrepreneur, and that helps increase the chances of success. So, you know, Adeolu, I attended a certain online course on entrepreneurship essentials, incidentally held by Harvard, and they gave 7 specific qualities that an entrepreneur is evaluated by. One of them, of course, was the experience of the entrepreneur. But one key one that interested me was the network of the entrepreneur. I know you're going to talk a lot about the things that we should be doing, right? And the kind of character that we need to build in order to make this a successful journey. I'm going to hand it straight over to you, because I know that you have a hard stop at 6 o'clock, and I'm very, very sensitive to that. Guys, please, everyone on the call, please be participatory. Put your comments in the chat box. When Adeolu finishes his presentation in the next 25 to 30 minutes, we're going to start to engage each other in discussions. And of course, you can unmute yourself and ask questions at that point. But in the meantime, let's keep the conversation going in the chat box. Adeolu, over to you.
Thank you very much, Doja. Okay, it's my pleasure to share with us today. I always say that sharing within an hour is a challenge for me, but today I have a boundary on the other side, so we're going to make it work.
I'm sure.
So, yeah. So I'll share my slide right away, and then I will move into the heart of what we would like to talk about today. And What I'd like to talk about today is about the entrepreneurial mindset. So if you're here today and you're listening in and you are an entrepreneur, or you want to be an entrepreneur, or you already have a side hustle, you want to convert into a full-time hustle, whatever it is that you're doing, I think it will benefit you today because I'll be touching on a few things. I have a few minutes to talk and I want us to engage each other as well. So I'll be looking at the chat box and be asking you a few questions as well. A little bit about me very quickly. So my name is Adeolu Akiyemi. I studied electrical and electronics engineering, switched over from engineering and started my career in human resources management. So I was into human resources management as far back as 19 years ago. I started my career as the recruiting and training manager for a multinational company, Procter & Gamble. And after I did a few years in Procter & Gamble, I went to Virgin Nigeria as human resource talent supply, learning and development. And then in the year 2006, I decided to go into full-scale entrepreneurship. I decided to do business, and I felt that the business that I would be able to do and do well was a business that was linked to the skill set that I had, which was human resources skills. I had learned how to recruit, I had learned how to train, and I felt, you know what, I'm going to be a consultant. I'm going to be talking to companies and trying to see how I can help them out in this direction. But guess what? In my journey in entrepreneurship over the last 15 years, I have learned some very interesting things. I have picked up some very interesting things along the way. And I just want to share with you so that you can take your own journey seriously. You can benefit from the hindsight of how, outside that we've learned, our faults can be your basis for rising. And I'd like to say that, in the last few years, we've done some exciting things. I think what I'm most excited about is how the turn of things have taken in the last 7 years, last 8 years. So in the last 8 years, we've been involved in entrepreneurship on many counts. I'm hearing the re-echo. I don't know where it's coming from.
Really, but we can't hear the echo, so please go ahead.
Okay, excellent. So I got involved in a different line of business a few years ago. So prior to now, I've been involved in actually managing an organization that is involved in a variety of things. So we have a distribution company, we have a real estate company, we have a travel company, we have something in the fintech space, we have something for training and development. So we have a number of outlets for a variety of things we are doing. And in the distribution company, we are distributing, basically importing products and distributing, until a few years ago where we started doing local products and expanding local products. We're able to do a particular business and multiply it by about 300x, basically multiply the business, scale it big time, something I was struggling at the time. So I've had my hands in a bit here and there. Today, I want to talk about the entrepreneurial mindset. I want to define who exactly the entrepreneur is. What are the skill sets that they need to have? And I want to start from why, okay? I want to start from why. Why, why also do you want to be an entrepreneur, and what exactly does this involve? So that's a little bit about me. I'd like to just quickly dive into it and tell you one of the key reasons why I'm doing this today. And I'll give you a few pictures and I'll ask you what you can see. So the next few slides, I will not be me talking. It will be you sharing what you can see. So I like us to talk from what you can see, and then we'll take it down into the mindset. We'll share a few key things. We have a few minutes, so we'll make the most of the minutes we have. So if you look at what you have in front of you, this is Nigeria in the 1900s. And sorry if you are not Nigerian, it applies to Africa as well. So you can look at this and ask yourself, where do I fall in this? So I'd like you to look at this slide. I'm not going to say anything. I'll just say, look at it. I'll give you 10 seconds to look at it. So just take it in. Take it in. This is Nigeria 120 years ago. This is how we were run. This is what exactly was happening in a snapshot. This is Nigeria 100 years ago. Okay. If you look at this next slide, this is Nigeria today. So I'd like you to take it in, 10 seconds, take it in, take it in. I'm going to ask you a question so you can prepare yourself. The question is, what can you see and what do you need to do? What do you think you need to do based on what you can see? Okay, so this is Nigeria today. We've replaced the Europeans. we replaced slave trade, we replaced colonization, but this is Nigeria today. Okay, snapshots, 10 seconds, take it in, take it in. Excellent. Next slide. Next slide, I'd like to see what can you see here. So this gives you a play, it's a pictorial play as well that shows you Africa, shows you Asia, shows you Europe and Americas, shows you a clear picture of what I call the world agenda, shows you what do we do in Africa, shows you what Asia does, shows you what Europe and the rest of the world have been doing. And I'd like you to just take that picture in. You have like 10 seconds to take it in. Remember the question, what should you do? What can you see and what will you do? What do you need to do about what you can see? Okay.
Should we start commenting now in the chat box?
Oh yes, we can start commenting. Yeah, your comments can start flying in. One more slide. Right. I'll show you one more slide and that'll be it. Or maybe two more. Okay. So what can you see and what should you be doing? You can start commenting. For clearer picture, this is a clearer picture. So if I can explain this in a few words. So Europe takes the products, sets the vision, gets the raw materials from Africa, manufacturing is done in Asia, develops the brand in America, sells it for 10 times the value. Asia sells it to the people that will collect from them at 2.5 times the value, and it ends back in Africa as a finished product, ends back in Asia as a finished product, still goes to America as a finished product. This is the sales direction of the world agenda. What can you see and what do you need to do? So the floor is open. I'd like to have your thoughts and your comments over the last 4 slides. What can you see? What exactly can you see that's happening here? And what do you need to do? What do you think you need to do? What should we do to change our position, to operate at a better position, to have a better platform? Okay, somebody says, Mohammed Badda. Shani says, nothing has changed. Okay, utilize our raw materials to manufacture, sell, and build our country. Okay, thank you very much, Mohammed. That's brilliant. Nothing has changed. Jamil says, Nigeria seems to remain the same from 1900s till today. Nothing has really changed. Akio Dubito says, yeah, I don't know about that. He says we are screwed. I don't think we're totally screwed.
I think his answers to only you.
I think, yeah, I also answers. I think what we need to do, I think is, we need to be clear about where we are so that we'll know what we need to do. We seem to consume more than we manufacture. Elvis says we consume more than we manufacture. Amazing. Okay, Miracle says, Akin is your own comment. Adebayo says we are the raw material producers, but we're not adding value to the raw materials. Thank you very much, Adebayo. That's important. Brain drain and colonization, almost the same. Jami Adebayo, interesting. Okay, Akin says we need to move up the value chain. Says change is in our hands. Our generation can change the story and drive the manufacturing. Okay. Awonwe says we need to brace up in the manufacturing and development of visionary projects. Okay, someone says we remain consumer still. I think there's a lot that can come from what we are seeing, and I like the energy of us analyzing where we're coming from. But what I want you to do is ask yourself, what do I need to do? Okay, so let's take it away from the global role of a Nigeria. Okay, Nigeria is made up of independent people who come together to work interdependently. There will be partnerships, there will be teams, there will be a variety of things that are coming together to make things happen. What are you going to begin to do to make this different? Okay, someone says we need to start adding value to the raw materials and sell it and get a 10x value. Okay, good. So what are you going to do about it? What exactly are you going to do? Okay, what are you going to do? Nothing has changed, no vision. They come from the raw materials. It's very interesting when we are analyzing third parties and we are saying it's the government and we are saying, it's the colonizers. There's a quote from Ibn Khaldun or something like that says, the conquered always emulate their conquerors. So what has happened in Africa, for example, is even though we were a captive colony, when we replaced them with their exact identicals. And that's because we keep on pointing the finger rather than owning the responsibility and saying, what will I do? What will I do? How will I use my candle to light up, to have light? And how can I light up other candles as well and create a moment of lighting up candles? So what will I do? So since raw materials in Africa sell to us not less than 5 times the price and bad leadership. Good. We have identified the problem. Identifying the problem is very easy for us in Africa. We know how to analyze problems. We can analyze football matches and say where the coach didn't do it well, where the players didn't play it well, how they should have scored the goal in the first 20 minutes, how they wasted the chance they got in first half, how they threw away their penalties. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd like us to bring this home and say, what will I do? Okay, create an innovative parallel economic model that is unfamiliar to others. Okay, put vision in action. Somebody says we have lost it. No, how do we gain it? Nigeria needs a robust industrialization policy tied with entrepreneurship. I like this. We need to move away from consumer mentality to manufacturing and production mentality. Does this mean, for example, that one of the things I can do is I can make up my mind that I will choose to buy Nigeria. I will choose to do stuff with local. I will choose to look at what is happening in my local terrain. Can this be some of the things I will begin to do? Will I begin to manufacture? Will I begin to say, how can I add value to the raw material? Because, ladies and gentlemen, even your brain is a raw material. Are we together? Now, what we're doing in training is we're trying to add value to that brain so that it's just not a raw material anymore. We're trying to add value to it. We're trying to refine it. We're trying to process it. So what am I going to do? Okay, someone says Nigeria needs a robust industrialization policy. I like these things when we're talking about what Nigeria needs. I think it's beautiful. I want us to answer the question of what can we do? Okay, because we are Nigeria. Okay, don't be a sales guru alone. Develop good projects. Awesome. Personally start producing from raw materials. Abayo, very good. All says nothing has changed about Nigeria, despite being blessed with many raw materials available to supply manufacturing countries. We've been cheated because of our lack of productivity. Okay, what can we do? I can see a used continent. Mimile, I've been making the country stagnant. Extract and convert raw materials to finished products. I must start adding value to the chain. Millions of SMEs must spring up strategically. Africa, Nigeria have been sitting on so much value. Awesome. Okay, I like that. I like the energy that's coming from Mimile. Amazing. We need to start becoming very innovative in using our raw materials to create value and solving problems instead of focusing so much on materials coming from outside to the third world. Okay, good. It's often easier said than done. So if a person chooses to spearhead the change, what then happens to the system that the bottlenecks which will cripple one's drive? Okay, Manuel is asking the question of the person who is saying, before we rush ahead and do anything, is this going to be sustainable? It's easier said than done. You know, but I realized something very interesting. The world is changed and transformed by people, and this is one of the attitudes of entrepreneurs. So let's begin to take our lessons. Entrepreneurs are incurable optimists. Their optimism is beyond reason, is beyond logic. Somebody put it this way. He said, if I listen to an entrepreneur I want to fund, and I don't see that what he's saying is crazy, unachievable, is overstating his profit, is understating his expenses, and is profitable before he starts, he needs to be crazy before I can invest in him. So one of the attitudes you find with entrepreneurs is that they are crazy. They are illogically optimistic. So one of the things that we need to begin to do is you need to come up with ideas that don't make any sense. Okay, and then we ask ourselves, how do we make sense of them? Somebody says castles are built in the air. Okay, unfortunately, castles cannot stay in the air. Okay, we need pragmatic people that can put the foundation on that, but the visionary must first of all see the castles in the air. So I think you start from the point of seeing business or entrepreneurship as a value-adding factor first, rather than a profit-making side. Okay, that's the brilliant idea. One of the things that, you know, what will I do, for example, if I was government, or what will I do from where I am? We need to begin to see how we can ensure that the wheel of progress is grinding in Nigeria, whether it's profitable or not. It's not even the question right now. Find local solutions to today's pain points, innovate, and we must solve our own problems. Thank you very much, Dodger. Amazing. Until we decide to run a closed economy, e.g. like China. Okay, so John is advocating a closed economy to government. This is not what we can do. This is what probably government can do if we want government to do it, because our government now is democratically elected and we vote and write the laws and the policies by which we run. Somebody has said that maybe Nigeria is a benevolent dictator. I don't know, but how can you and I take charge? What can we do? I think we need to adjust our national economic interests, the systems of Nigeria, a raw state, and need more entrepreneurial economic shift. Asia is in the world tech because the economy has shifted to sponsoring of individual startups, creating competitive continent, etc. Nigeria needs to build human capital. And I think, you know, the table is full of ideas. And I think that's where we start from, to say who exactly is an entrepreneur and what exactly is an entrepreneur looking for. So ladies and gentlemen, what I've shown you very clearly in these tables, in this picture that you have seen, is that Nigeria is in dire need of entrepreneurs. Nigeria, we don't need it to be among the company of nations. We need it to survive. You know, here, right here, where we are in the world capital of poverty. Okay, poverty doesn't mean much in many countries. Poverty means a lot to us here. Poverty is something that we don't come into here. We own it. We literally own poverty here, and it hasn't changed. In 120 years, the picture of the Nigerian being sold outside of his will into slave trade, because because he doesn't even have control of himself. Somebody has captured him and they've packed him into ships, and it's not his will. But not only has he emigrated from Nigeria without a sense of recognition of his roots, thank God for DNA matches, and people are able to realize that they're actually from Southeast Nigeria. They're able to realize that from Uganda. They're able to realize where their roots are from. Otherwise, okay, the African has lost sight of where he's even from. That poverty has not changed. Today, 50% of Sub-Saharan Africa, okay, is poor, and the bigger percentage of that 50% resides in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, if the world is talking about prosperity and wealth as additionals, or as something that they can have, as something that is also nice to have, Nigeria, we need desperately to create value. We need desperately to create wealth. We need to take a appeal from the doldrums. I was looking at an analysis recently, and I saw that in Europe, less than 1% of Europe is in abject poverty. Less than 1%, about 0.5%, 0.5%. In Africa, we're talking about 50%. And I'm not talking about relative poverty. I'm talking about abject, meaning that we're living on less than is enough to feed, to clothe, to take care of our health, and to be educated. Okay, and these are very real issues. So we're saying this is the reality of where we are. Except we become self-aware, we cannot change anything. And if anything will change, we need a new breed. We need a new breed of people who are thinking entrepreneurially, who are asking themselves, how can I be a solution provider? Who are not lamenting what the government has done, who are not lamenting what the Europeans have done, who are not lamenting how Europe or the developed Africa, who are not lost in their past, who realize that we are where we are by virtue of things that have happened in our past, but we must take ownership today and begin to chart the way forward. And that's why it's not enough to be an entrepreneur and mind my own business. It's enough that I'm able to inspire others and say, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, you need to begin to think in a certain way. You need to begin to work in a certain way. You need to begin to see opportunities around you, because the only way we're going to change the narrative of what's happening in Africa, and we have all the skill sets required. We have the raw materials, not only under the ground, in between our head, in between our ears. There's a lot of raw material here that can be used to make tremendous change all around the world. But ladies and gentlemen, we first of all need to realize this is where we are. And if we're going to get out of here and change this narrative, we need a new breed. And this is what the next 10 years is about. This is what the next 20 years is about. The next 20 years is about making sure that there are people who come into this page and realize, you know what, I can do something. And ladies and gentlemen, there are many factors, many aspects of this chain, many aspects of this value chain. So there's the physical products that needs to be distributed. There's the technology products that needs to have a global view as well to see how it can get around the world. Someone was doing an analysis, and I'll share this as well. Over 70% of Nigerian businesses that are selling raw materials, over 70% of Nigerian companies that are selling raw materials are actually foreign companies. Okay, so even the raw materials that we're not refining, even the raw materials that we're not adding any value to, we are not the ones selling it. So who is selling charcoal? Who is selling sesame seed? Who is selling cashew nuts? Who is selling the raw materials? If you dig it down to the fathers of the company, you will see Lebanese, you will see Indians, you will see a few Europeans. Even the raw materials at X value, less than 10x at X value, it's not even our business. Some of them are bearing Bola Nigeria Limited. Bola is the name of the person who started the company. Somebody has already bought it over and kept the name Bola because Bola works. Okay, so we need to enter into a new way of thinking and realize, you know what, this agenda, we need to create a new agenda.
Okay? I want to ask you a question while you're at it in this particular space, which is that, I mean, when I look at all the comments that have been, there have been a lot of identification of what the problem is, what the challenges are, what the barriers are, right? And I like what you're saying about mindset. I listened to Ibukwa Ojika, and she said that, I think 25 or 30 years ago when she was about to start, I mean, there was a lot of discouragement, even particularly from people close to her, because they were saying, listen, there's no power, there's no light. So why are you doing what you're doing? You will just suffer and you will just lose money. 30 years later, is there light? There's still no light. But is she thriving? Yes, she is. So let me ask you, right, what kind of mindset change, shift do we need from seeing problems to seeing opportunities and trying to create solutions to those problems? Please tell us.
Yeah, so we're entering into it, and like I said, we have a few minutes, so we maximize what we have. Now, so the reality is, there are two kinds of human beings. There is a victim and there is a victor, and it's a mindset thing. And unfortunately, a good percentage of Nigerians, and I can't hazard a number, but I have met with people, and in my average audience of 100 people, the language, the subconscious of about 90% of Nigerians is victim. If you look at the comments that we have in the box today, you will have comments about not what people can do, even though I stress what can you do. You have what government can do. You have what other people can do. You have what we can do as a whole. Somehow, in the midst of that equation, we have become victims. And reality is, people can make you victim. People can turn you into a victim. Meaning, you can be where you are out of factors not your own making. But the day that your change begins to happen, or the day that your change becomes possible, is the day you decide to own where you currently are. So I don't kid myself, okay? I know where I'm coming from. I know my background. I grew up in Ilorin. My father was a teacher. My mother was a nurse. I did a little farming by the side to get things supported. I didn't have a silver spoon. There was no spoon really there. I got to school. I got scholarship for a good part of the way from SS1 till I finished university. I was on one form of scholarship or the other, which was a very big relief to my parents to ensure I could move things forward. So nothing in that history says that anything will be handed over to you. If there's anything you're going to get from life, you're going to have to work for it. But the day your change begins, the day your paradigm shifts to realize that there's nothing you want in this world that you cannot make happen, okay? That the moment you can, somebody says, I know, is it David, the theory that says, I know of no more encouraging fact than the ability of a man to change his life by conscious endeavor. That the first key mindset that needs to happen is, that incurable optimism, that realization that, I can stand from anywhere I am in the world, and the world is a buffet. It's a buffet. What I get to eat is what I get to choose. And the fact that I have a desire is an indication that it is possible. Okay, we share in the parlance, we say that desire is possibility-seeking expression. We say that it is because there's already a food cooked. That's why my nose can sense the aroma. That desire is an aroma of a food that is already cooked. That the place where everything begins to change, the first fundamental paradigm, is when I realize that if it is to be, it is up to me. And that government will not change anything. We are the ones that make government. We are the ones in government. It is one of us that is there. The policy makers will not change anything. That if anything will change, it will start from somebody. We talk about the movement in America, the emancipation of the Black in America, Martin Luther King movement, Rosa Parks. How did it start? It started from somebody who refused to stand up in a bus when a white person came and said, you know what, this nonsense stops now, and I can't do the speech that will make it happen. I can't get done everything that needs to get done for us to stop being treated this way. But within my own small space, I will make a change. And usually what happens is life rewards you with more responsibility when you accept responsibility for the small space you are in. So once you focus on your circle there are two circles: the circle of concern and the circle of responsibility. The circle I can add value to. If I focus on the place of circle of control, if I focus on where I can control, I realize that my capacity grows. And this is the encouragement to say, you know what, all you may have identified is that rather than they take the shea butter and they sell the shea butter, you can add value to the shea butter, and you say to yourself, it will not pass through my hands except value comes on it. As you begin to make those changes happen, and you say, you know what, it is not enough that I know this, I want to add more value to myself and become better. It is as we begin to ensure that we know that we're not victims. We have the capacity to choose. Where we will be 5 years from now is a decision away. Where we'll be 10 years from now, we have the ability to redirect the way our lives will turn around, not by affecting the winds, not by predicting how the winds will blow, but by setting our own sails and ensuring that the winds will naturally cooperate with the sails that are set. So if I can get into it, the entrepreneurial agenda is how do we make, how do we manage, and how do we multiply? Okay. How do we make? How do we manage? And how do we multiply? Okay. And how do we make? So make, the raw materials are material and they are mental. Okay. They are material and they are mental. So how do I ensure that I see raw materials and I can refine it? How do I ensure that even myself as a person can refine? One of the very key refinements that needs to happen to the average person is you need to learn what exactly are the things that you need to know as an entrepreneur. What is the entrepreneurial mindset? What exactly is this about? So we go to school so that we can learn, so that we can become corporate professionals and become this. Yes, the best school to learn entrepreneurship from is from the school of hard knocks on the street. But guess what? You don't need to have your own experience before you learn. You can piggy off somebody else's experience. You can leverage on what somebody else has already learned. But that raw material you have needs to be leveraged. And then we need to be solution-minded. So in making, we create the value that we want. We refine it to say, how does it solve a problem? You know, very recently, some people came to my office to share a fantastic solution that they were selling. And this solution they were selling was in a bottle, okay? And in this bottle, they had like 60 capsules. And I asked them, how much are you selling one? And they said, well, we're selling one for 35,000 naira. And I said, 35,000 naira. They said, yes. I said, okay, good. Why are you selling for 35,000 naira? I said, well, because the problem that it solves is a big problem. And because we have realized a big problem, we realize that the people that have that problem are willing to pay for the problem, you know, to go away. We're not selling this product, we're selling a solution. So raw materials, you know, provide you the platform or the operating space for you to build a lot of solutions on. In Africa, in Nigeria, we need to begin to think solutions. Now, there are many fantastic solutions I've seen in the last 10 years that have not gone anywhere. You know, somebody came to see me in my office about 2 years ago and said, there's this product our family has been selling for 34 years. 34 years. He said this product has been in our family since 1988 or 1986, and we've been selling it. But in those 34 years, they have not even sold, they've not sold 100,000 of the product. They've not sold 10,000 of the products. They've just been retailing it around their house. And they came to meet me to say, look, we saw what you did for this other company. Their product, they have not sold 10,000 in 7 years. And in 2 years, you have sold 1 million. Come and help us. We want to scale this. It means here in Nigeria, there's plenty of value all around you. Plenty of value that needs a system. It needs a systemic structure of distribution, a systemic structure of ensuring that this value can reach as many hands, a systemic structure that ensures that it can go around the world. These are things that are required in this environment as well. So we need to learn how to make, we need to learn how to manage, and we need to learn how to multiply. So of course, in the manage equation is where it goes from x to 2.5x. In the multiply equation is where it goes to the 10x. Okay, and these are things that we need to learn. But this is just introduction. We are now about to get to the heart of our conversation about the mindset of the entrepreneur. So the first thing we would like to do today is, can we define who the entrepreneur is? Can we come and say, okay, exactly this is who an entrepreneur is, and these are the key things that the entrepreneur is watching out for. But understand this, the reason why we need to do this, ladies and gentlemen, is because we're in a place where, as a country to survive, as a continent to thrive, we need to build a company of more entrepreneurs. And if you are still on the side hustle level, you need to move into mainstream. It will take some time, it will be gradual. But this is part of the exercise that we need to go through of learning to ensure that we can function properly in this place. So today, very quickly, I like to tell stories. So I like to start with my first story, and it's the story of a man who got his son married as a definition for entrepreneurship. Okay, I will still together. I think I have a few more minutes. I think I'll end with this story, and then question and answers can fill the day. You know, but like I said,
go for it. You know?
Is that why I should go for it?
Go for it. Continue, please.
Okay, great. So I'd like to tell you this story. This is a story I like to tell. I'm a storyteller. I love stories. I think people learn with stories. I think people will forget you long after you have gone, but they remember the stories. I have people who stop me 15 years down the line and say, there's a story you told us when we were in Delta State University. You know, and I told the story like 17 years ago. So stories stick. So once upon a time, there was this man of Nigerian descent who had somehow discovered, you know, that he had evaluated himself and had come to realize, based on the pictures he had seen of his past and his current reality, that he was poor. Okay, he was so poor that even the poor called him poor. So he had realized that from generation to generation, poverty was the legacy that his grandfather gave his father. Poverty was the legacy that his father was handing over to him. And he looked at his son. His son had just completed NYSC, was about to complete NYSC, and he saw that the way the son was going, poverty was the legacy he was going to be handing over to his son as well. So he told himself, I need to end this problem. So he called his son and he said, my son, I can see that you're about to finish NYC. You have been submitting your CV all over the place, with reckless abandon looking for a job. I've seen that nothing has shown up. It's not looking like anything will show up. I don't want you to end up like me. I think we need to end this problem. And the son said, Daddy, I'm with you. I would like to end this problem as well. What can I do? And he said, oh, my son, what I'm going to do is I have a strategy that I've planned. We're going to plan this strategy. And if we plan this strategy, it will make you rich and it will change this chain of poverty that's happening in our family. And the son said, Daddy, I'm interested. You don't have much longer to live. I still have like 50 years in front of me. It better be spent well. And father said, good. So if you're going to do this with me, you have to do exactly what I say. And the son said, Daddy, I will do exactly what you say. So far, it's going to get us our desired results. Father said, okay, good. He said, my son, what you're going to do is you are going to get married. And the son was like, Daddy, I didn't get that. I said, you're going to get married. You are going to get, I'm telling you what you have to do to change this narration of that our life is going through. You will need to get married. And the son said, Daddy, I'm just finishing my NYSC. I can't even sustain a wife. He said, yes, but you have to get married. He said, okay, Daddy, what do you want me to do? He said, what am I going to get married to? He said, I'm going to get married to Aisha. Her name is Aisha. And her surname is Dangote. And the son said, I don't understand. Which Dangote? He said, no, the same Dangote. The Dangote. His daughter. He said, really? I said, Daddy, honestly, it wasn't in my plan to get married. But if Aisha is available, why not? That's not bad. That means, yes, you'll have ended the problem. He said, so how do we get married to Aisha? Well, how is it going to work? He said, well, incidentally, it so happens that I and Alhaji Dangote went to the same secondary school. And in secondary school, we were good friends, but we have not had contact for a long time. My nickname when we were at school was Tiny. And Dangote used to call me Tiny. So he knows me. I know him, but I've lost contact with him. I just need to establish contact and we can make it happen. And someone said, Daddy, if you can make it happen, I support your plan. I'm ready to go ahead with it. And the father said, okay, good. So the father went back to the drawing board. The father didn't call Dangote directly. The father went to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, picked up the names of a few companies, sat down and studied the companies. And when he studied the companies, he studied two companies that were in their need. He studied two banks that were in their need of showing up their capital base. They had challenges with the cash that they had in the bank. They had challenges. Their profitability was in question. They had a few things that were going wrong with them. So he identified two of them. And he felt, you know what? I'm going to work on these banks. I'm going to use them to hatch my plan. So he analyzed the banks. He realized that they needed cash. That was a big problem. They were not having enough deposits from depositors. He saw the profile. People didn't respect those banks. They didn't trust them. So he did analysis and he felt, okay, maybe it's something I can do. So he tried to analyze the banks, found who the MD was, got to research, found out the details of the MD via email, found out the director that they had, found out what they had missing, basically did his research. So after I done research, he held the research details in a place, and then he finally made the call to Dangote. And then he called Dangote and said, Dangote, this is Tiny. Dangote said, Tiny, where are you? It's been a long time. He said, yeah. You know, how's everything? He said, I'm fine. You know, so what do I hold you on this call? He said, Alhaji, I've been seeing your progress. I'm excited at how you are doing. Thank you very much. You are doing very well. He said, Alhaji, I have a request I'd like to make for you. Please do not deny me. He said, Alhaji, I said, Tiny, for you, anything. What do you need? How can I help you? He said, Alhaji, my son will, my son is finished, is doing well, is doing very well. And my son is considering the possibility that he can be married. He can take your daughter, your third daughter, as his first wife. He would like to have your daughter as his first wife. Alhaji said, my daughter, which one? He said, Aisha. I said, Aisha, okay. What's your son? What does your son do? He said, well, my son is expecting to be confirmed as a director in one of Nigerian banks, Sterling Bank. He's supposed to be a director in Sterling Bank. They're confirming him in a few days from now. He's doing well. He's a very promising child. He's doing well. I said, really, director? How old is he? He said, he's 26 years old. He said, director 26? Oh, that's very impressive. Oh, sure. If your son is a high flyer like that and is doing well, why not? Let's organize to meet. It's been a long time. We should see. One of these days, maybe next month, you can fix an appointment and see. I say, yes, Alhaji. And he closed that. Of course, the son is not a director yet. So he goes ahead and gets in touch with the director of the MD of Sterling Bank and sends him a mail and tries to connect with him and says, you know what? I've studied your bank. I've seen your challenges. I see what the challenges are. You need deposits. This is the challenge that your bank has. I have a son who is going to be son-in-law to Dangote very soon. They are doing the marriage soon. Based on his relationship with the Dangote family and the fact that he's son-in-law, he will be bringing in a lot of goodwill for your bank. Deposits are going to come from that area. I think if you can make him a director in your bank, not an executive director, just something in the document, something in your documents to show that he's a director, he's going to have good value and goodwill. I think he will be a game changer for your bank if you can have him in that capacity. I said, really, son-in-law to Dangote? We've been trying to close Dangote's account all these years. It's not been working. He said, no, now you're bringing it home. Everybody's going to be at the wedding. This is an opportunity for you to close this. I said, yeah, why not? It's not going to cost us much. We're going to just put him there as a non-executive. He doesn't have to have shares in the company. It's just a role I play. That's fine. We can do that. You said it's son-in-law to Dangote? Yeah, sure. He said, I'm very sure. I'm very sure, sir. Okay, good. So they set this in motion. Of course, they set this in motion. Somewhere along the line, they had a problem. Something happened in the bank. There was a big challenge that happened. They began to dig into some things. And this man saw that, was going to have a setback with this bank. So he had to come up with a backup plan. Remember, he had two banks. He got the second bank. It was GT Bank, called, got across to Sheikh Agbaje and says, you know what, I have this as well. This is what's happening. My son is this. I'd like him to be just nominal. No shares, just a position. It will add value. This is what's possible. This is what it can work out. And I said, yeah, that's not difficult. That doesn't cost anything. No problem. So we got that done. To cut the long story short, it was the bank that was offering the directorship, organized a quick date for the wedding. On the wedding day, the bank came, the family came, everybody came together, and the boy married Dangote's daughter, became director in the bank, had a lot of goodwill to bring in a lot of customers, a lot of goodwill around, was able to secure a few businesses for himself to ensure that he was fine. He had married into wealth, he didn't have to worry again, and they all lived happily ever after. Now, so when I share this story, I usually try to ask people, what can you see here? What is entrepreneurship? What are the things that spook you here? What are the things that excite you here? What can you see? Okay. And for me, because for me, it's, so this man, and this is not an unfamiliar story. This is a story you find in various spaces as well. So I'm asking you today, what can you see in this story? What can you see that is entrepreneurial in what this man did? What are the key elements you can see of what the man did? So let's roll our points in. Let's keep on rolling them in. But I'll share this with you. There was an entrepreneur who had a very interesting scenario that was exactly like this. He was broke. He was running out of money. I think his name is Gary Hirschberg or so, who was into dairy products. They were making yogurt. It's a multi-million dollar company today. But there was a junction in their journey where they were stranded, literally stranded. And he needed money from the bank. He needed money, for the business. The business was going to collapse. He went to meet the bank, and the bank said, "Look, we cannot give you the loan. We can guarantee you if somebody is willing to give you the money." And then he went to the person and wants to give them the money and says, "The bank has agreed to guarantee me. If you can give me this money, the bank will guarantee me." And he said, "Okay, good. So we'll give you the money if your shareholders are in alignment." And he said, "Our shareholders are in alignment." He called the shareholders. He said, "Shareholders, the bank will give us money." Essentially, he played this game where the bank believed that the shareholders were on board. The founder believed that the bank was on board. Everybody believed that everybody was on board. And eventually, everybody came on board. Okay? Somebody says, "I see enthusiasm. I see value. I see strategy. I see plans. I see power of networking. I see relationship. I see creativity. Amazing. I see leverage. I see network. I see goodwill. I see connecting the gaps through relationships. I see leverage." Okay? He connected. He took risk. He leveraged. He had opportunity. Amazing. Okay, we have a master class on entrepreneurship already from the thoughts that are coming out from this place. Okay, he created a solution. He implemented a strategy to make the solution work. Always made use of people in your networks for leverage. Amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us break it down. I think you already mastered it all. You're showing me everything that is there. Okay. An entrepreneur has or catches a vision. So the first thing that happens is a vision. This man says, "I don't want to be poor anymore. Okay, I want to end this madness. I will continue like this from generation to generation. It has to stop." The same way you and I need to catch a vision to realize we cannot be in a country that continues to be like this. We need to make a difference. Our people have value. We are quality people. We have amazing raw materials, not only in the soil, in between our ears. That's why in grad schools everywhere in the world, Nigerians are topping the play. It means there's something amazing that we have. So you need to catch a vision of a better future. You need to catch a vision of building a business that transcends beyond Africa and goes around the world. Building a business that scales. Building a business that, by the time you are diluted and other investors come, you have a big chunk of something that is huge and is global. Okay, that's your own access to the world. You find a play that it's a vision. This man had the vision of, "I don't want to be poor." That was his own vision. Okay, so today How have I learned this? I've learned this. So a few years ago, somebody came to my office with a particular product. That product was a herbal drink. I don't like herbal drink. I don't like bitter things. But I took that business and I said, you know what? Let's do this. Okay, after a long story, and we pulled it together, and in one year, by the first year, end of the first year, we're doing $1 billion turnover. By the end of the second year, we're doing $1 billion turnover. At the end of the third year, we're on track to do more. Now, what exactly has happened? In that journey, I saw something and I felt, you know what, this can be big. This can have potentials. Now, of course, we have had a very interesting stories in that journey, which, if we have time, I will share with you. But guess what? It always starts with catching a vision of what is possible. Now, once you catch a vision of what is possible, you ask yourself, what do I need to do to make this happen? Identify a problem. So we identify the problem. This is the problem that we have. This vision is what I want to create, but this is problem that is stopping me. This is the Nigeria I want to create. This is the future I want to create. This is the kind of business empires I want to build, but this is the problem that is stopping me along the way. Identify a problem. Okay? After I identify the problem, you identify other people's problems as well, because for your business to thrive, it will need to be a win-win. Everybody who is playing there needs to have what they are playing for. Some people will work for you in achieving your dream. They have their own needs. They have their own problem that they want to solve. Some people will be your supplier. Some people will be your distributors. Some people will, everybody will have somewhere on the chain that they want to feel because of real problem that exists for them. So it's not a problem. The bank needed to get cash. Okay? Dangote's daughter needed to get married. His son needed to be wealthy. He found the people who had certain problems that he could connect together. Okay? So in a nutshell, conquer inertia first, and then connect the dots and bring it home. Amazing. Bring resources together. An entrepreneur is not somebody who knows how to sew clothes. You don't know how to sew clothes to be a fashion designer. You don't need to be a medical doctor to have an entrepreneurial setup that is a hospital. You don't need to be an engineer to set up a manufacturing company. You don't need to be anything to do anything. You just need to have the eyes to see, and the hands to connect, and the legs to run the errands, and the eyes to catch the vision and to see the problem. So you bring resources together. You find somebody who can do A, somebody who can do B. You transcend yourself. Okay, he brought it together. He saw opportunities. He saw, you know what, if we get this together and get this together, I don't need to even work or worry. I can have the goods delivered. He did his research. Okay, he didn't just say, I'm going to do this. No, he identified the problem. He did a thorough research, found out what was possible, what was not possible. He did his research. So do your research. And then, of course, he had setbacks. And ladies and gentlemen, they may not tell you enough about this. I'm writing a book on this that I'm releasing next month by God's grace on adversity quotient. The hallmark of business is you will fail. Failure is a part of this thing. Okay? In fact, the best entrepreneurs to invest in are the ones who have failed before. So you that you are still nursing your idea and you're feeling, I don't want to fail, is a bad thing you don't want to do. You want to fail. Fail! You're going to fail. You are better off failing than never trying. You are a more useful entrepreneur because you have tried to shoot at the target and you have missed. It means your next shot, you just need to go a little bit lower. And if it's too low, the next shot, you need to go a little bit higher. So just keep modifying and modifying and modifying. Like Thomas Watson said, IBM's founder's son. He said, I have realized that in life, in order to double my success rate, I must be willing to double my failure rate. Because the more you fail, the more you are likely to succeed. Come back from setbacks. You need to learn how to come back from setbacks. You need to learn how to fail until you succeed. So someone says success is the ability to move from failure. I think he's what's his name? Ability to move from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Winston Churchill. So you must be able to move from failure to failure without stopping. So you fail forward, come back from setbacks. Take calculated risks. Somebody is thinking, hey, what demanded is fraudulent. What if GT Bank did not agree? What if Dangote disappointed in last minute? Then it will have a problem on his hands. It's called risk taking. There's no entrepreneurial venture without risk. Oh, you may minimize the risk. There is risk. There is always risk. But you need to identify what the risk is and ask yourself, is this bad enough? Okay, what's the worst that can happen? I remember when I entered into my entrepreneurship journey, I told my wife, I had a discussion with my wife, and I said to my wife, I want to resign from paid employment. They're paying me well, but I want to do business. My wife said to me, honey, let me resign from my own business. Let me go and be running the business. You stay at your work. Your salary is 10 times my own. Allow me to do the entrepreneurship venture. You coach me at night. Okay? You coach me at night, I do it in the day. You stay at your work. So I stayed at my work until one day I came back home and I said, honey, I have resigned. I said, what? I said, I can't stay there anymore. I need to do this. And then we plunged into it together. And then said, what will happen to us? What if things don't go well? And I said, I have a plan. If things don't go well, this is my fail-safe plan. Okay, I grew up around a farm. I know how to farm. Farmers don't get hungry. If things go badly, plan B. I'll take you back to where I grew up. We'll start a small farm there. We'll ensure that you can feed and eat. I come back to Lagos, live with my friends. I hustle until I make it. Take calculated risk. Ask yourself, if this goes bad, what next? If this goes bad, what next? What am I going to do? Take calculated risks. And then, of course, deliver multiple wins. Okay? Delivers multiple wins. I like the way Gbemile says it. Bring it home. Bring it home. Bring the wife home to the son. Bring the director home to the bank. Bring the son-in-law that has an illustrious career in the bank to the Dangote family. Make it good.
Excellent. Connect the dots and make sure that there's excellence in execution. I want us to use the remaining minutes to take questions. That has been such a passionate delivery. Thank you so much, Adeolu. Abayo has been raising his hand for some time. Somehow I find that on my tablet, I cannot do it. So Tito, could you just please help me unmute Abayo so he can ask his question verbally?
I've asked him to mute.
Thank you. Excellent.
Hello. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Morning from this side of the world. I like to share a story just to buttress what the speaker has said. I was opportune because I do commercial banking. So what I do is we work with small business owners and help them actualize their plan. So grow their company, identify where we feel the risks are there, and try to mitigate the risk and all that. So it's a different ball game from where I'm coming from for what I've done in the last 17 years. So I was at a presentation to one of these farm products, and the presentation was fantastic. So I asked the white lady who's the CEO, what can go wrong with this plan of yours, with this product? And what she told me was profound, and it was something that was mind-blowing. He said two things can happen and their product would not meet its target, will not sell and all that. So I was curious. And so what's the first one? He said, if the world go into war, and there is war in the whole part of the world, meaning every country of the world is at war, that means they won't be able to produce, they won't be able to meet their numbers, they won't be able to sell. And secondly, he said, if Africans wake up and know that they can produce everything the world needs, and that is the only way their products will not strive and they will not meet their target. And I left that meeting with my head bow, and I was wondering, we have so much right in our country, but yet we lack so much, so very much. So now my thought is, we need to start looking inward and start seeing those opportunities right in our own country, right in our backyard. I remember when I was growing up in Ibadan, everything that we eat, the vegetable, the tomatoes, everything, we planted it behind our house, and we don't have to go to the market to do stuff. So I was now wondering, how do we lose it? So now I think it's important that we all look inward and see how can we harness all these resources and everything we have within ourselves. And secondly, please, sorry for taking your time. Secondly, we need to build trust. I'm not sure the level of trust we have in each other and to one another is there yet. For any business to strive, trust must be there. There must be an element and level of trust. You must be able to trust yourself. You must be able to trust who you are sharing the ideas with and you are going to partner with. I find that companies.
Just a second, Abayo. I'm going to have to cut you now, right?
Okay, no problem.
Get the point, and thank you for the comments. You're absolutely correct that we are the ones that have to wake up. Maybe it's time for you also to come back and help us revive this market via your own entrepreneurship ideas and taking into consideration your vast experience now even abroad. We're really hungry for you to come back and bring solutions. Adeolu, please could you unmute as well, Mr. Ojubemi, so he can ask his question.
Mr. Duwemi, you can unmute.
When you have a surgical operation,
please help mute.
Before then, you go for checkup so that they will know if it's still to be carried out. When she go, when the husband was no longer the person.
Hola, we're hearing you.
Yes, hello, okay. My question goes this way. Initially, when people want to start a business, most times they have issues like capital base, funding. Funding normally comes in as one of the issues. Then the second issue that normally comes in most times that we do experience is the issue of connections. What if you don't have the proper connections to go about leveraging on the proper connections? And how do you go about such instances? Then the third one is how to build goodwill. I think these three questions are the issues that I've been having issues with some time now. Because I'm also actually planning to start up the business, but I want to begin with some necessary investments. So I'll be so glad if these my questions could be answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Adeolu, let's take one more so you can answer all the questions. I'm so cognizant of the time. Take one more, please.
Okay. So, Jamiu, you can unmute.
Hello.
Hello, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, from your presentation, I gathered that as an entrepreneur, we have to learn, and also we have to bring resources together. So I want you to differentiate between these two, because for me, I have an idea. I've been thinking of an e-commerce, which after a thought, I see that there is nobody that is doing that in Nigeria here. I pitched the idea to some of my friends, but I see that the risk involved, they don't want to take. I also pitched the idea to someone that I feel can finance, but e-commerce, trust, and all those, it didn't work out. So now I'm thinking of going alone, but it involves technology. And for me, I'm not a tech person. And I see that, okay, bring resources together. And also for me, I'm thinking if I want to bring people together, I hope the person I'm going to bring, the tech person I'm going to bring, will not take my idea away from me, since I'm not a tech person. So I'm scared of the person. I mean, if I bring a tech person in and say, okay, let's work together, you take percentage, okay, even I'll drop.
I'm going to cut you now. We completely understand what you're saying. So you are talking about, the risks of theft of your idea and maybe even competition. And you're also talking about where to find the people. Adeolu, over to you. Money. So where to find the money, where to get the people, how to build competitive advantage, how to really make sure that your ideas are not stolen by the people that you bring into your business. The classic problems that entrepreneurs face within Nigeria. Over to you.
Okay, so let me just quickly do this. We have like 2 minutes to go. So let me just try and quickly say a few quick thoughts. One, money. My perspective is whatever is worth doing small until you can do it big. Whatever is worth starting small. So I think that the first thing you want to do is be able to create a prototype, a pilot. You want to test case what you're doing. And it can be as simple as I take, I before I make the product, I can start selling it. I can go out and say there's this product, and that product is in my imagination, but I go and engage people like it exists and try and see if they will actually try me for it. If I've established a market for it, it will make me more convincing when I talk to the people who want to finance me, that they should finance me because I have seen something. And very interestingly, I went for a short course in Harvard, and it was very interesting. In that course, they asked us to go outside and go and sell our idea to people on the street and ensure that we only record it when they try to pay us from their wallets. The idea has not been created, the business has not been built, but you must be able to engage someone. And if I go out, I talk to 100 people, my idea can change when I come back and realize that this thing I'm selling, it will not sell. But I realized that when I was going out, I changed it and then it began to sell. So I've already pivoted and I've already understood what my product should be. So the first thing you want anything you want to do, be able to begin to engage people like you already want to sell it, so that you can have an idea of how powerful this product you want to have is. And then once you catch a vision of the possibility of that product, you'll be more convincing to people who finance you. Number two, credibility is your ability to collect credit. So a mixture of goodwill and ability to raise funds is also from how you handle small, how you do the little. And I tell people, listen, if you come to meet me and you say, I need $1 million for my business, and I'm meeting you for the first time, I will look at you and I'll pass. But if you come and meet me and you say, I need 5,000 naira, I'm stranded, I want to go somewhere, I'll bring it to you tomorrow. 5,000 naira may not even be able to do what you want to do. But what are you trying to do? You're trying to build a relationship with me. You're trying to build credibility with me. When you go, you come back with that, you act responsibly with small. When I see you in the future and you say you need 50, I won't think about it much. I already have history with you. When you come back in the future and you need 50 million, and I'm the one who is on the board who will approve it, I won't think about it much, because you have already built your credibility as somebody who can be trusted with little. So what I will say to you is, whatever it is you have an idea to do, I think we worry too much about our ideas being stolen. Ideas are cheap. Ideas they don't cost so much money. There's a book, 1,000 ideas, okay, and the book is about 3,000 naira. So with 1,000 ideas inside the book, it means each idea is 3 naira. Okay, ideas are not that high priced. Okay, execution is more valuable. The fact that you have tested something is more valuable, and nobody can steal your idea if you are putting the execution behind it to make it work. There's nobody who is called a technical person. The guy who programs Java needs somebody who does UI UX. The guy who does UI UX needs somebody who does PHP. Even the technical people need other technical people to make their technical advantage work. So it doesn't matter that you don't have the skills required. You just need to be able to bring the resources together and create a win for each of the players. Okay, create a win for each of the players. Connections. Yes, you need to get out of your comfort zone. Many of us are very comfortable where we are. You need to go out. How will you make connections? By networking, by going to places where you can meet people, by attending trainings like this, by engaging with people where you can meet people and you can hear their ideas, you can pitch in. You can pitch into what somebody else is doing. You will find the connection through somebody who knows somebody. We have maximum of 5 degrees of separation from the last person we want to meet in the world. So by connecting with people more through Dodger, I'm going to meet a lot of people. I'm meeting a lot of people today who I didn't know through Dodger. Through somebody who is speaking here, I'm seeing Bemele, I meet somebody else through that person. Somebody says, I'll be the chief launcher. I'll meet somebody else through that person. So who knows, what is possible, from every connection that you make. So make connections with discipline. Understand that money will start from your immediate circle, the people that know you, that like you, that trust you. It will start from there. And then from there, we can progress into other amazing things.
I think really, Adeolu, I'm looking at the time because of you, right? But this has just been absolutely amazing. Thank you. I like those 3 M's. You talked about make, manage, multiply. Extremely critical. If we don't take anything away, we must take away those 3 things. What are you making? What solutions are you making? What are you managing in terms of the resources that you're putting into the system? Whether it is capital can be 5,000, can be 50,000, can be 50 million. What are you managing and what are you multiplying? Turning those raw materials, converting them, adding value into it, and don't sell it just as raw materials, because that's what Africans have done for the longest of times. Listen, thank you so much. And the entire community is thanking you as well. Guys, please put in your positive feedback for Adeolu. Okay, he's left already. Anyway, please put in your positive feedback for him so that, he's going to see the chat anyway. We're really, really grateful for that insight that he has given us and the energy and the passion that he has brought along with it. In any case, the point remains that the power of your solution starts with you. You are the entrepreneur. You are the one who's going to put fire, who's going to put fuel behind any kind of idea that you have put on the table. And the value of it comes in the power of your execution. You execute flawlessly. You bring within your network, you bring people to help you. You also make sure that in all of it, whether you trip, whether you fall, whether you falter, you get up again. You get up again. And yes, someone was asking about the shame of failing over and over again. The real shame is in staying down. You want to get up and try again because you have learned. You have learned a certain way not to do it because you did it that way and then it didn't work, right? So now is the time to forget that shame. when you start to succeed, it is the same people that will come after you and want to be part of what you're doing. All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. The recording and also the presentation will be available at www.ecoicenter.com/webinar. You can go in there to get the video so you can get it as well. We have a community of entrepreneurs. That is the beginning of networking, and Elvis has put that link in there. Feel free to join that community. We share ideas, we share opportunities as well, and of course, you know everything else that is going on within Techbiz. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Thursday evening if you are in West Africa, and for those of us from Canada, have a lovely morning and rest of the day. Bye.